So, welcome back to another episode of Two Exhausted Toddler Parents Try Bourbon to Make Their Problems Go Away.
It's a good title.
No, really, it's Power Bourbon. I think that's the title of the channel. I don't know. It's been a long day for us. We really are toddler parents.
Whew. Yeah, living the dream.
Yep. And then somehow I talk her into coming down here and drinking bourbon on camera. So it's wonderful. Tonight, we're going to blind off two bottles next to each other that I was super excited about getting. If you have not heard of this distillery, I highly recommend picking it up, and that's why we're going to do this blind, so you know which bottle you should pick up. So the two bottles that we're going to review are out of Nashville, Indiana, which is Hard Truth Distilling. Now, you may have heard of Hard Truth from their Sweet Mash Rye, and their Sweet Mash Rye is absolutely amazing. Maybe a little expensive in my book. It's about $80, $85 for a single barrel. However, Kroger lately around us has been putting their picks on sale for about $65. At that price, buy all day. In fact, just get a backup. So their ryes were really good. They released bourbon just recently in February, I do believe is when it was. And they released three products. They released a sweet mash bourbon, which is not one of these two, the wheated bourbon, and a 4-grain bourbon. So the wheated is just wheat as the second grain instead of rye, and the 4-grain is corn, rye, wheat, and malted barley. So those four things. Both are bottled in bond, so 100 proof, at least 4 years, all that good stuff. So
Okay.
yeah,
It's a good background.
yeah, lot of
know
good
your
stuff. Yeah, I did a lot of research. So yeah, we're gonna see which one should be good. They're both 100 proof, like I said, so proof isn't gonna come into play. It's just gonna be flavors and notes and everything like that. So yeah,
Right. So which one are we?
we'll start with the one on the left and then go to the one on the right.
Okay. Class on the left.
Cheers. So I will say this is one of the coolest bottles I like in the game, with the coolest cork, because it has like the outside of the cork tree on it, which makes for a really, really cool cork.
It is. I was thinking that while you were talking. I was like, oh, that's a unique cork top.
Yeah.
And it's just cork?
Yeah.
Okay. Not one of the ones with the heavy metal or like fake cork underneath.
No, it's just solid cork from
Nice.
top to bottom.
Cool.
All right. So on this first one, get a lot of chocolate and sweetness.
It's very sweet.
Yeah.
It's sweet on the palate. I'm not getting a whole lot on the nose. It's very light. This is a light bourbon. It's not bad.
Oh, and so both of these bottles should run you about $60. So a little on the expensive side, but it is a craft distillery. They're not producing a lot. So really it's right on par for what you would expect from a craft distillery. So I'm really not upset about the price at all.
Yeah, it's like a brown sugar, a little bit of baking spice, and a little bit of like caramelized banana. Okay.
Yeah, I would say you could almost mistake this for like an Old Forester product. So
Yeah, not bad.
yeah. Pretty standard. Nothing off-putting, anything like that. Kind of also reminds me a little bit of a New Riff with their first products that they released, everything like that. So
And then the second one.
yep. Ooh, that one's completely different.
More earthy nose.
It's almost like a truffle nose. Truffle, mossy, damp wood.
Yeah, definitely earthy.
Yeah.
More cinnamon on that one.
Yeah.
Not nearly as sweet.
There's a lot more complex spices in that. The first one was like 2-dimensional, something like this. This one's got a whole bunch going on, and the nose and the palate do not match whatsoever. Like
No.
you don't get the earthy notes in
No.
the palate.
Yeah. And no like oak or anything. Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, in the palate, I get a lot of vanilla, vanilla cream, butterscotch, and maybe a little bit of lemon or orange zest in there. So.
Yeah, I got vanilla too. Little hint of creaminess. It's a little too light for me. I wish it were darker and a little bit more bolder
I get you.
flavors.
Yeah.
Feels a little watered down.
Yeah, it's 100 proof, but I mean, as I let it sit, the second one I feel like has more spices coming in on the finish. It's slowly getting there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's still just, yeah. I want them a little more kapow.
Coming from the Booker's lady, yes. 127 proof, everything like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you said this was, no, single barrel?
No, they're blended from multiple barrels. They're bottled and bond. So I do believe each one is 28 barrels. Yes, batch size is 28 barrels.
So
Yeah.
we're picking our fave.
Yep, you're picking your
Right?
favorite.
Because we got to give suggestions.
Yes.
To people out there. If
Which
they see
one
this,
They should
got to decide which
yes.
one. Because they are out at the same time. Are these? So these are two like standard products.
Yes, so they're going to be standard products. They're always going to be out. It'll change a little bit because 28 barrel batches, everything like that. But yes, so these are the first 3 bourbons they've ever released from Hard Truth, which is that sweet mash bourbon, the wheated bourbon, and then the 4-grain bourbon. And as far as for those of you that don't know what all that sweet mash means is they start the process over every single time.
Right.
So they don't put some of the previous distiller's yeast and all of that back in. They completely clean everything down and they start it all back over, which they got Hard Truth from Peerless and then Wilderness Trail were the kind of the guys that taught them how to do that. So.
Very cool. So coming back to this first one, I'm getting like apple note in there.
Yeah, I can see
like
that.
A green apple coming in as well. A little fruity. Something a little different after being in the tasting the other one. It's still very sweet.
Yes.
That is a dessert drink.
Yes. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, the first one's very sweet. All that caramel just comes through. Yeah, with little hints of apple or something like that. And the second one is much more your traditional flavored bourbon. There's a little bit of depth with caramel, vanilla, and then some baking spices and things like that in there.
Yeah, it's still earthy.
Mm-hmm.
Although this is interesting. Yeah, definitely like a tree moss type thing.
Yeah.
Not bad, not like off-putting, just different.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I would normally think of earthy being oaky and like woodsy, and this to me isn't very woodsy.
Yeah, it's more earthy in the sense of like a wine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We probably left them hanging because we said we were going to pick, and we just kept talking about it more.
I know my favorite, but I don't want to influence yours.
You think I'm going to have a solid sway over people?
Yep. I know for a fact that everybody in the comments of what does Heather think?
Well, sometimes it's hard when two are very different.
Right. But
I feel like people should get something, if we're hitting some of those flavor notes that people like, they should get a particular one.
Right. And that's why we gave the flavor notes, but now you have to decide.
Have to pick.
Or else I'll go buy a bottle of each as backups.
Well, as we've done in our bracket challenge where you make me pick, like, okay, we understand that on any given night, might have different interests, might come back to it the next day, and like one better over the other versus the night before.
Right.
Okay. So And how I'm feeling tonight, I am going to go with the second one that we did.
Sounds
Do
good.
like that better.
Yep.
I think the first one, for me, just a bit too sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And I like spices. I like the cinnamon. I like some of the complexity on the second one.
Yep.
Better than the first. Were you?
That's exactly what. Yes, I was going to go with the second one, which is, of everybody I've seen that has reviewed these, is the consensus of them, which is the 4 grain.
Okay.
So, which makes sense because you get another spice in there being the rye, and it's a little bit more than the wheat.
Yeah.
So you get a more depth, more traditional bourbon, but with a little bit of extra sweetness. Where
that's another note I was getting on here was wheat as well. So that makes sense. Yeah, because I was like, a little apple, a little bit of wheat coming through.
Yep.
But then you sip it and it's just sweet. But that wheat usually is more sweet, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, more sweet, more delicate, all of those things that you were picking up in the first one. So I was wondering if you figured it out. But so there you go. That is our review of the Hard Truth bourbon line. I think if you're a fan of wheat, pick up the wheated one. If you're a fan of more traditional bourbon, pick up the traditional bourbon one. But Hard Truth absolutely deserves a spot on your shelf. You're probably not going to go to it every night, it being at $60 and everything like that. But again, small craft distiller doing amazing stuff. And if you like their bourbon and you're a rye drinker, their rye is where they just hit it out of the park. And it's just absolutely amazing. So with that, I think we're going to crash and go to bed to survive a toddler yet again. So cheers, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.